On a beautiful spring day in 1833, in the city of Hamburg, Germany, a young boy was born by the name of Johannes Brahms. His father, Johann Jakob, was a bassist playing in dance halls all around Hamburg. In his early years, little Johnny Brahms, as he would be called by his older sister Lissy, learned to play the violin, the cello, and how to tickle the ivories. His passion, however, lay in composition and growing out his hair, as one can clearly see in this picture taken from his Instagram account. Johnny's best friends were a woman named Clara and a man called Joseph Joachim, whose street names included JJ, Jar Jar, and Jojo. It is rumored that Johnny time-traveled into the future and created the Brahms for the movie Inception. A Brahms is a low brass sound designed to make your sternum bend backwards until it touches your spine. Johnny Brahms had a long career as a composer, pianist, and conductor, yada yada yada. He lived, he died. You can read the details on the internet. Today, however, I want to present to you Brahms' choral work called Nachtwache Nr., the much-anticipated sequel to Nachtwache Nr. 1, which has been described as darkly comic, sinister, and classy. Maybe this is the reason why this will be conducted by him. What? Stop with the accent? Doesn't it sound sophisticated? All right then, let's talk about this song called Nachtwache Nr. 2. This piece is the second of 5 choral works combined in the Opus 104. It is composed in the key of E-flat major and voiced for SAATBB, a cappella. The text is by Friedrich Rückert and describes a nightfall scene as follows. There are 2 watchmen. While these 2 could be positioned on watchtowers at opposite ends of a town, I like to think of them as godlike creatures watching over the earth and its inhabitants. In the west, there is a gigantic Viking-like person following the sun's orbit. Let's call him Dusk. He turns back looking at the dimming world behind him and sounds his horn, the signal meaning, "Are they resting?" The god in the east, let's call him Dawn, looks at the humans on the darkening globe and answers with a similar signal. "Yup, they're down for the night. All is well." Cut to a group of mortals getting ready for the night. Their hearts are anxious because of the looming Sunday night deadline for their homework. They hear voices in their heads and figure out it's their guardian angels, saying things like, "Come on now, turn off your light. Tomorrow's another day." The mortals get comfy in their beds and fall asleep peacefully. Good night, 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 good night. Hey Chris, we can hear you snore. Mute your mic.
Oh, sorry, Sarah. Good morning, guys. Anyone awake? I guess not.
As H.C. Collis expressed so poignantly, 2 characteristics in Brahms' art stayed consistent throughout all his phases. One is the fact that his melodies owe their inception to the natural aptitude of the human voice, and the other is his insistence on perfection of technique. Let's use the lattice for a moment to show how masterful Brahms realizes this poem on a harmonic level. For this demonstration, I will use Dr. Schubert's diagonal design of the lattice to show the various kinds of chord transformations at work here. If you are currently in 1st or 2nd grade of this program, don't despair. You will get plenty of it next summer. We start with a call of the watchman in the west, expressed melodically with a descending fourth in the sopranos, echoed by the altos and tenors in three-part harmony. Then the repeat of the call in the first basses with a harmonized echo in all parts. While the basses continue the echoing of the call, the upper parts lay out the story in homophony. The watchman in the west sounds his horn asking, "Are they resting?" This section moves harmonically repeatedly from the tonic to the dominant. Notice how on the lattice the harmonies move from left to right, from the west to the east. The response from the east appears harmonically as a repeated 1-6-4 movement, on the lattice from right to left, literally from east to the west. This response begins in antiphonal imitation between the women's and the high men's voices. They culminate in the direct answer of the call, "Yes, they are resting," which is melodically, as you might have guessed, an ascending fourth from the dominant to the root, bringing stability, peace, and closure. The second part begins with a single note E-flat. The unfolding harmony indicates quickly that the tonality has shifted to A-flat major. The harmonies jump to the dark side of the lattice as the apprehensive heart is listening to whispering voices. As it becomes clearer that the voices are those of angels, the harmonies brighten and move to the right of the lattice, just as the busy texture of the whispering voices turn into the chorus of the angels at the only true homophonic moment of the song, which is also the golden mean. If this wasn't already impressive enough, Brahms takes us now on a brief ride through the undertonal realm by seemingly flipping the E-flat major chord to an E-flat minor chord. However, he uses only the single note G-flat to begin a cascading sequence in the key of C-flat major. The voices of the angels suggest extinguishing the lamp without fear. Eventually, the harmony progresses from a C-flat major chord to an A-flat minor chord. Using the ambiguous fact that this chord can be a minor 6 chord in this key as well as a minor 4 chord in the original key, Brahms pops back into the tonality of E-flat major via my favorite transition. Can you spell nebenverwandt? He then quickly adds a brief 5-1 movement to stabilize the new key. What follows is Brahms hammering home the tonality with back and forth movements between the subdominant, the dominant, and the tonic. That's a wrap, figuratively and literally, as the text suggests, to find peace in the covers of one's bed. On a broader scale, the symbolism of the song can be applied to one's lifetime, at the end of which the angels whisper encouragement to let go and find eternal peace. Hence it is not surprising to know that both Nachtwache 1 and 2 were performed at Johannes Brahms' funeral. If you are in a hurry like John Eliot Gardiner, you can perform this song in a whopping 43 seconds, although in general I would say it is under a minute and a half. This minute and a half, however, is packed with a cross-section of Brahms' essential composition skills. Since it is so short, let's end this presentation with this wonderful recording by Capella Amsterdam under the direction of Daniel Roys, without interruptions.